Hey everybody, if you are looking for a game call that is elk, turkey, deer, predator calls, waterfowl calls, we highly recommend phillipsgamecalls.com. Professional grade game calls made for every hunter. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is the Ridgeline Hunting podcast. And you know who I am. I am David Crane, and my co-host over here, Mike Peterson. And today we're actually going to be talking about what we use in the field for capturing photos and video.
Yeah.
And we're going from super affordable to still affordable. And I'm going to tell you why it's kind of like in those ranges. So actually, I'm going to kick this off real quick, Mike. Everybody, if you are listening to this on podcast or if you're watching on YouTube, usually this is all done from your cell phone, right? No, yes, no. You could be watching this on your TV, but fairly accessible, probably in your pocket or next to you, is your cell phone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my cell phone out. I'm going to show you.
I got mine out already.
I use my cell phone in various different ways. I have captured full-on hunts with my cell phone and a POV camera, which would be like a GoPro, or so Mike has, a GoPro here. I'm using a Insta360. It's a 360 camera that is right here, and we're going to get into those as well. But I have done full on films, I guess you could say, for YouTube with just my cell phone. This cell phone here, this is an older iPhone. You can use any cell phone that takes video as long as as long as it can do 1080, you're good to go. Most phones now can film in 4K. I usually film in 4K. Usually on my cell phone, I actually think I run mine on 4K, 120 frames per second, but as long as it's 4K 30 frames, I believe that you can put together something fairly decent, unless you want to use slow motion. When you get into slow motion, you want a little bit higher frame rate. So when it slows it down, you can actually like really slow it down quite a bit with the higher frame rate. Or you can just film at a higher frame rate at 1080 and you can slow that down. So yeah, and I'll show you what I do to film. So when I'm filming for YouTube, I usually have my phone sideways instead of straight up and down. So if you're just listening to this on the podcast, basically holds it landscape. Yeah, hold your phone in landscape mode instead of in vertical mode. So
portrait mode.
Mike's gonna get me corrected on these, but yes. So portrait mode would be like straight up and down. Landscape mode would be like sideways. Now for doing this, when you're filming on YouTube, if you do it in portrait mode or straight up and down mode, it actually is
that good for the shorts?
So if you film in portrait mode, that's perfect for shorts, because if you actually do it in landscape mode, it like zooms it in and it doesn't get your full frame in there.
Yeah.
So if you do it in portrait mode, it's going to get the full frame.
Yeah, it's a better format in portrait mode.
Yeah, formatted for shorts. I don't know why it does that, but that's just...
I think because the shorts are not a full like widescreen type of stuff. They're just like...
Yeah, and so when you're watching it on TV, it's like, it's weird. My kids watch a lot of YouTube shorts on the TV, and it's like it's almost shaped like a cell phone. It's weird. But when you do it in landscape mode, it's already in that 16:9. So when you go to edit and post, it's already set up for you if you tried to do it in post when it's in portrait mode or straight up and down. You have to actually like zoom in and try to frame everything in, and then it's sometimes it's pixelated, so it just doesn't look as well. The other thing with filming from a cell phone, when you actually go and try to zoom in, if you try to zoom in really, really far, it gets extremely pixelated. It's kind of hard to fix, but the fix for that, especially when hunting, a little bit harder solo, but if you're actually just trying to pick up animals from a distance, I use a tripod and my binos, and I have it set up with, this is actually called the scope cam. There's a whole bunch of different variations of this. I have a little magnetized plate on the back of my cell phone, and basically I just clip this right on here like so, and it perfectly lines up. This is going to be, of course it's going to be a pain in the butt, but
it always is when it's you're trying to demonstrate it.
There we go. So basically that just sits on there, and
gotta show that video of what it looks like.
Well, I think I have it on like super zoom, but anyways, you would just hit record and you can film through the binos. It's actually super cool. So this one is more universal. So I can just take this off and I can put this pretty much on anything. Obviously a bunch of different sets of binos and spotting scopes, but there are other ones where you actually have to buy the piece that goes with everything, and it just slaps right on and goes. But this is the one that I use just because if I wanted to use a 10x42, I can just unscrew this right here and put those on there or on a scope, or let's say Mike's got something spotted, I can take it right off there, put it right on his and record. Very easy. That, and I'm not like zooming in and out to where it's getting super pixelated. I will be having a full on deer hunt where I just used my cell phone pretty much the whole time. I would say maybe 85% of it, because the other time I was using my cell phone, more or less, I didn't want to tote around a big camera. And at the time, I didn't have the camera that I'm using now, which I'll talk about later, but I'm actually using it to film. But yeah, if you have a cell phone, this is the easiest, fastest, and depending on your cell phone, I wouldn't even say it's the cheapest way, but if you already have a cell phone, you can use this for photos and video.
Yeah, and everybody has a cell phone.
Right.
So,
and depending on your system, so I have the newer lapel mics or lavalier mics. This actually is the CM28 model. It comes with the transmitter and 2 mics. This model can actually plug into your cell phone. So mine is an older cell phone model, so it has a different like lightning charging port.
Lightning cables.
But you just plug that right into your cell phone. You can grab a microphone and it's ready to go. But it also does have the USB-C. And if you really wanted to, you could use the cord and plug in the cord as well, USB-C. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of variations. I'll have links for everything that we're using here. I'm going to have links in the description. So I'm going to have a lot of work to do. But these ones, I believe they retail right around $108. At the time, I got these off of Amazon, and at the time I had like a gift card to Amazon. So I only paid like $56 for this system right here, and it comes in its own charging unit. So you charge this actual unit, and it charges the mics and the receiver here. So yeah, you can use your cell phone. There's been other people that have used cell phones and have produced some really good looking video for YouTube. And I mean, there's people out there, YouTube is a plethora of whatever you want. There's people that have filmed actual commercials with phones. So
yeah, supposedly Apple did it as their whole stick for the 16, not the 16, but the 15s.
The 15.
Yeah,
I think they did it with the 14. They did it.
You can film a whole
You could do whatever you want.
Commercial with it, professional grade and stuff, but then they don't tell you that they use their professional grade editing software. That's what's going to get you. And we might even go into a deep dive into that in a different podcast as well. But because I got both of them.
And I have free ones too.
I have Adobe. I have the Adobe subscription, so I have all the Adobe programs. So I have the Adobe one, and I also have the Apple one too.
And then I have a free one when CapCut. So we might dive into that would actually be a fun one too, because we're actually having fun with just doing like what we film with and take photos with. So boom, cell phone, it can do it. And it's basically how you put your story together or how you put your film together. So my outdoor experiences aren't per se films. They're more like vlogging. I wouldn't even say it's like a documentary. I don't even know what you would call it, but it's day by day.
I think it's
like
style.
vlog. Yeah, vlog style.
Yeah.
Floating head stuff.
Yeah, that's vlog style. Yeah.
Yeah.
More like that. Not really that too much B-roll you don't put in.
Yeah, I don't really put in a bunch of B-roll. I might have like a couple of things where like the fog's rolling in or rolling out or the sun's coming up or something like that. But I don't really go into depth with B-roll. Not yet. I do want to put together a film. I just haven't put it together yet. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen one of these years. But as of right now, it's vlog style, and I like it, and other people do too. So yes, cell phone. So that's out of the way.
Yep.
I got people texting me and blowing me. I'm supposed to go dirt bike riding tomorrow. But yeah, they're hitting me up. But yeah, and so yeah, this is the newer CM28. I want to say this is brand new this year. Super cheap, sounds awesome. We've used it for a podcast. I've used it out in the field.
I actually tested it on the podcast.
Yeah, I had never used them.
Yeah.
And it turned out pretty dang good. I thought it did.
Yeah. And on the other side spectrum, I have and use the Rode Wireless Go 2s.
Yeah, those are the newest model of the Rodes.
The Wireless Goes is the newest one, is the 2, which I got the double mic set, so I have like the receiver and the 2 different variations. The one where you can have the little dead cat on it by itself that you can like clip somewhere. And this one, I actually have 2 lapel mics that you can hide it. I opt to go for the black one. There is a white color variation to it, in case if you have a lot of white stuff, I guess. Snow goose is probably the only...
for hunting. Yeah. Oh man, we were actually going to use those these past year, which we actually got another invite from the duck camp to go and do that hunt again. Actually, Mike, we have an invite on October 12th, which is the weekend that we are supposed to be going rifle hunting. We have an invite for snow goose on October 12th, so you need to check your calendar and figure out what you're doing, because there's options.
Because in October,
you're very busy.
Very busy.
Which is not October yet, but when this actually comes out, it will be October. Yeah. And we might be in the thick of it with deer rifle season. So, Mike, let's go to our next category here, and that's going to probably be our POV, which is point of view cameras. That would be, I mean, there's so many now, but there's GoPro, DJI, Insta, and then there's a bunch of brands that I've never heard of, but they all do the same things, but there are companies that are good at it, and there's companies that are extremely bad at it. And the first one to really dive into it and has just been a staple has been GoPro. Now, Mike has
probably Hero 8 Black.
Yeah, the Hero 8, which would be considered like the older model.
Oh, it's ancient considered. Well, GoPro.
But have they changed?
Yeah, GoPro is known just to add like a little bit better camera and not a whole lot of features to their stuff over the years. So now they're on 13.
Just came out. Yeah. So the stability stuff.
It's like stability and a little bit better camera, and maybe the processing's faster. But
for what we do,
an 8 is fine.
I had a 7. I just got rid of the 7, and it's still good.
The side point of this, if you're looking at GoPros for the older versions, don't get a 10 or 11 GoPro because they overheat and they'll cut your video.
So you would think you might be capturing something, you go to look at it and it's not there, and you have like some overheating warnings on the screen.
Those two versions, they had a little bit of trouble of them overheating and problems and you basically have to film in like 720 if you don't want it overheating. But now I think they fixed it in 12 and 13, those versions. And the 8, of course, mine does fine. I've taken this on motorcycle rides and it's lasted like 3 hours straight until the battery died without overheating.
Same with my 7. And where we're getting at here is with the GoPro, you can find these used all over the place. So 7, 8, 9, if you want to get a 10 or 11, you can. There's 12s out there now used because the new 13 came out. But I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're hearing this on the podcast on one of those platforms, go and check out YouTube. There's 100 billion videos on GoPro. And if you're looking at one of the newer ones, the 12 or 13, there's like, the 12 or 13 verse, which one should you go with and blah, blah, blah.
What features have this? What features don't?
Is it actually better? People dive into that. I don't get into any of that. Number one, I don't have money for one of the newer ones. So
that's why I still have the 8.
And it works just fine. We've done videos with those, basically with the point of view cameras. We're using those for basically stalking in when if someone is manning in one of the big cameras, say it gets a little bit too thick, that person needs to stay back. This is the last kind of shot camera. The kill cam is like what I pretty much call it. So there's tons of cameras out there. There's crazy amount of cameras. I just picked the Insta 360 up. Now they actually already have a newer version. But this is the Insta X3. It's a 360 camera. I absolutely love this camera. I actually dropped it. We were actually out just shooting our bows at the range, and I just wanted to take a little video, and I dropped it, and it put like a little scratch on the lens. In the video, you can kind of see it a little bit depending on which way the sun's coming in, but I've kind of been able to in post zoom in a little bit, and it kind of gets rid of that little flare in there.
I have to change my GoPro protector. It's been cracked like right down the middle of the thing forever, and I'm just too lazy to get another protector for it.
So with GoPro and also with the Insta, but I took them off because it was a bad hue on them, but they do have protective lenses. Now with the brand new X4, which hopefully I'm going to get for next year, so I'll have 2 360 cameras. The protection things for the lenses for the new X4, you can actually twist them on and off, so you can get new ones if you need to.
Oh, that's cool.
This one was a sticky one, so you had to actually stick the cup over, and it didn't quite line up very well. So I tested it out on a turkey hunt, and how the sun would come in, it would glare, and it would make this weird hue bubble of light.
It probably
was
had
just weird looking.
An air gap in between the lens. It wasn't to the lens fully.
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably the way that it's.
I think it was just design. Yeah. I think it was just bad design on the cups.
Floating protecting instead of on this. On this one, it's on the screen.
And it's not on the screen. It's not. It's it was floating. But now the newer ones through Insta comes with it. It comes with it. So it's not something extra you have to buy. I had to extra, buy the extra ones. But they come with it. So that's pretty exciting. But also, with the 360 camera, you can actually, so it has like the little media device thing here. If you guys can see that, I don't know if you can. I zoomed it in a little bit, but
it's on the side.
It is on the side, and you can plug in. Whoop, just dropped it on the ground. You can plug in a microphone, just like that, and then depending on what you're using, you can take this shoe, put it in the side here, boom, like that, and now you have your microphone for your sound. Now, what's cool about this does look very funny, but if you're just videoing, right, and if you're videoing with this in 360 mode, this doesn't make any sense to do this. I would actually never do this. I've never done this, but you can if you want. For me, this is where it gets pretty cool. For me, I would use these mics here. So I can plug this in here. And same with the Rode, these ones do come with the dead cats. You can put the dead cats on here, or you can have the like little lapel.
Lavator mic.
Yeah, the
Lavator mic.
Lav mics right here. It does come up with all this for half the price of the Rodes.
Yeah, the Rodes right now are, I think the wireless go-tos are on Amazon for like $284.
Oh man, yeah. But what you're getting high quality. Rode is very good. We're using Rode mics right now. I swear by these mics. I started off the podcast with these Rode mics, and
are these the actual podcaster mics?
Yeah, these are the actual Rode podcasters used by the pros. They're great microphones. So Rode does make high quality stuff, but there is other things out there. I'm always somebody looking for that budget thing that gives you high quality stuff. These Rodecaster mics are not your Shure mics, right? The Shure mics are close to $300. These are $100 microphones, but they're used by the pros. I mean, it's high quality stuff for a cheap. I mean, you can go a lot cheaper, but I was still looking for high quality sound.
Yeah, these are like high quality for the job. You probably wouldn't use the Rodecasters if you're a freaking musician or something like that.
No, and these are a dynamic mic too, so you'd probably want to, I don't know what kind of mic you would want to use if you're singing and whatnot, but these might not be it. These do have built-in pop filters and all that other stuff, but you can go into depth. You can get different pop filters. There's tons of microphones out there, but for my budget, I thought that was a great micro. Yeah. I mean, I have quite a few of these, and I love them, but for the price, right, you're also getting high quality with these newer ones. We haven't tested them side by side with the Rode and the newer side by side. Maybe we'll do a comparison later on down the road, but I believe these are high quality for a cheap cost. But these can also hook right into here too. So if you're listening, I am hooking all this up. And just like that, boom, use one of these mics here, and you're all set up. Now, 2 people can run these mics, and you're using your 360 camera, good to go. You can do the same thing with the GoPro, as long as you have the media pack. I believe that's for every single GoPro. I don't know about the new ones, if they actually have.
The brand new ones actually have it within them.
You can actually just plug it in.
It's like
I think the 12 and 13 might have it.
Yeah, it's the little door right here for the bigger ones, or not the bigger ones, but the 12 and 11. I think you pop this door off and you get the other door, and you can actually just plug it into that. So I mean, these cameras are going a long ways. You can find these used. I bought mine brand new. I got mine at Costco, but it came with a bunch of extra stuff. I think I paid $289. Maybe $389. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it was an awesome deal. But now they do have the new X4, which I'm going to get, which is right around the same price as some of your newer GoPros. I think it is about $60 to $70 cheaper than a GoPro.
But what I like about it is in post, you can, if you have it in 360 mode, so basically you can run this like a GoPro, one camera one way or the other way, or you can have it in 360 mode where you can actually like look up and down and all around and all that. I really like it because in post I can actually put it on track, and it will track whatever you want it to track. It will track it. So when we were out hunting and I wanted to just focus on Mike, I actually just highlighted Mike and it tracked him no matter where we went. Even if I walked past him and he's doing one of these things, it just tracked him the whole time. Awesome. Yeah. I love the 360. I think GoPro has a 360. The Insta has their 360.
I think DJI has one too.
They have the Pocket, the DJI Pocket, which I think it will track.
The Pocket's but it's the gimbal one.
Yeah, but that one tracks. I don't think it's a 360. So they're out. There's cameras that are out there. Awesome cameras to have. I use this one a lot. This is also used as like a kill cam. This last year, I actually had it on my bow, which some of the footage from that looks really cool. I'll be putting together our elk hunt here soon. And if you listen to the previous podcast, that has basically our elk hunt on it. And yeah, the POV cams have gone a long ways. Actually, you didn't grab one of the cameras.
What, one of them? Which one do you think I'm forgetting?
The drone.
Oh, yeah, it's upstairs in it.
But anyways,
it's deep.
So the drone, another awesome camera. Mike has one. Sandana has one. Is a drone. Drones are great for B-roll. Some intro type stuff. Let's say you're driving into camp. You want to get you driving into camp. It's cool to have that drone shot. Mike, you can talk, quite a bit on drones since you own. I don't even own one.
Yeah. Well, mine doesn't track, but all the ones after mine will actually track your position and it will follow you. So that's really good that it does it. Mine also does with all the other ones. You can, like, if you're on a mountain or something, you can do in like 360 mode and it'll actually fly around you and you won't have to worry about controlling it. It does it all automatically. So the drones are really cool for B-roll type of stuff. You can't use it for hunting because if you use any sort of drone during the season, you can't hunt that day. You have to hunt the next day.
Yeah.
So any camera, electric, flying stuff.
The whole premise behind that is because they can't tell if you're using it for trying to find animals. So if you're flying a drone miles out, you can basically, it's like flying around in a helicopter. You can locate the animals, so they don't want you doing that. So it's basically like a fly day. If anybody's out there that's hunted Alaska, I haven't, but you cannot hunt the same day you come flying in. I guess I think I'm right on that. Because you can use that day to locate animals. So they don't want you to like locate the animal, drop down, and then go up and kill it. Get it.
Also, another thing with drones is I think they're cracking down hard on it now since everybody buys them. But if you buy a drone, make sure it's less than 249 grams, because if it's more than that, you have to register it like an airplane. So it has to have its own.
And I think you actually have to also have some type of drone pilot license.
Yeah, now you have to do it. That's what they're cracking down on. Yeah. So if you get the mini series, like I have the DJI Mini, Maverick Mini, and it's 249. So it's just below the 250 gram mark. So I don't have to register it. I can just fly it.
Well, I think DJI now also just came out with the brand new like a DJI.
It's like a little small one.
It's a Neo, I think. I could be wrong on the name, but they just came out with a super teeny tiny one. For everything, it's like $289, or you can just get the drone and it's like $199, but there's nothing with it. So like you can get like the controller and some other stuff, like 2 extra batteries and something else for $289, which is
Fly More Pack, like they call it.
It is a Fly More Pack. It's cheap. $289 for a camera for what it can do. It can follow. It can do all this crazy stuff. super cool.
The only
but
downside
mainly
to it
for
is wind.
B-roll.
Yeah, but it's wind too, the smaller ones. It burns a lot of battery when it tries to
overcompensate
it compensates itself because it auto compensates. But if it's a really windy day and you fly it up there, you'll have it like my battery is 30 minutes. If it's a super windy day, you'll probably get like 10, 15 before it says land me or I'm going to fall.
So I really want to get one.
If it gets close to like 5%, it auto lands.
Yeah, because it doesn't want to land like way out wherever. So it will actually come back to where it took off.
Yeah, you're home. Set the home on it and it'll come to you.
I really want to get one. I want to get one for the 3D shoots that we do. We do a Northwest Mountain Challenge. I think having that camera would be really cool with us, like hiking to certain targets and getting, different views of us shooting our bows. I think that'd be really cool. For B-roll, it'd be cool for, let's say, a camp day. Let's say we know that we're just going to get in, we're hiking in, we're going to set up camp and we're not going to do anything else. It'd be cool for that. Awesome B-roll. I think there's a place for drones, but you cannot use it like when you're hunting. So you can't just like put it in follow mode and use it, which kind of sucks, but they're loud. It's like a bee's nest following you around. Yeah. So you don't really want to use it when you're like physically out, like going after animals, but it could be used for, lots of cool shots. I think they're awesome. I think they have their place in the hunting and fishing. Now, fishing is different. I think fishing, you can just use it no matter what. So if you're out fly fishing or fishing the lake or whatever, throw your drone up there. You can get really cool shots. It's not
like you're trying to find it somewhere. You're basically in where the fish are. So it's not like they just have to bait them into you. So
it would be cool to use a drone as the thing, like have the line and bait from it and just
drop it.
Got him. That would be cool. But
some fish will just yard that sucker into the
water. But yeah, I think there's a place for the drones. But then, let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into some of these larger framed
big camera
cameras. Yeah, man. So I'm going to start off with mine because I'm actually using it. So my camera, I use it for absolutely everything. I'm using it for filming the podcast. I use it for filming the hunts. I use it for filming our 3D shoots. I use it for photos. I need another camera just because I honestly love the camera that I have. It is, I would say, on the cheaper side. They would even say it's a beginner camera for Sony. It is the ZVE 10. I love this camera. There are some features that it doesn't have. Let's say, Mike, I'm going to use your camera for example. Right. Mike's camera here has the viewfinder in it. Mine does not. Mine only has the screen. So if you are doing any like photography shots, you have to have the screen open. Mine does. You can move it all over the place. Same with Mike's camera here, which he will talk about, but mine does not have the viewfinder. The camera that I'm using, the Sony, is more your vlogging camera or using it as a camera for your computer setup or desktop setup.
Yeah.
I use this camera for everything and it works and it's flawless, to be honest with you. There is no time restraints from it. It doesn't overheat. I take that back. It's overheated one time while filming a podcast, but it was outside and it was 85 degrees and it wasn't covered. It was just beating down on it.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to make it overheat.
External overheating.
Yep. I was trying to actually make it overheat just to test it. It did overheat. It was about 23 or 24 minutes in direct sunlight and it overheated. While out hunting or filming anything else, it is never overheated. There is no limit on how long it can record, which is awesome.
Yeah, like some have like a 30-minute cutoff or something.
Yeah. So the camera before, if you guys watch some of the really early first times we started filming the podcast, and actually some of the hunts, I was using a Canon M50, which now they have upgraded to the R50, so they have a new model. Canon does. That would, I guess, you would call it your beginner camera. I don't think there is a such thing as a beginner camera, only because you can do pretty much anything you want as some of these higher end cameras.
Yeah, it just basically depends on how many features you want.
It's features, your interface, and less stuff in Lightroom and all this other stuff. You can pretty much just do it through the camera. But that also can do with ND filters and all these other filters. Like, there's a lot you can do with the larger frame cameras. But what I'm getting at is that there is a price range for everything. There is a budget if you can't afford something that's super expensive, like myself. I am a budget person. I can't just go out there and buy a camera frame that's $3,800. That's just not in my budget. For me, I found a used camera that can film in 4K, and the features that I wanted were basically no filming runtime, and can it film in 4K? That's really my only two things that I had.
Yeah.
I landed on the Sony ZV-E10, and I love this camera. I'm actually trying to buy another one, and it's basically because I want to start running two cameras on the podcast to give all of you some different depth in our film production for the podcast. So I actually want to find another one. And this camera that I bought, that I pretty much use all the freaking time for everything, and I'm taking photos of my kids' sporting events, or, you know, on vacation, whatever it is, I'm taking photos with that camera. I bought it for $400.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap for a camera that does all that stuff.
Well, and Mike, you've seen the production and film that I put out of it, and the photos, and they're freaking awesome.
Yeah, and my camera, I have a Canon RP, so it's like the entry level to mirrorless full frame for the Canon line, and this one was $1,000. I can't remember now when I bought it. It's been so long, but I like this camera. The only thing that I would go on this is I wish it would have a joystick on the back like some of the higher end ones, because I mainly do photography, and having joystick on the back to locate your focus instead of touching on the touchscreen.
So that's my main thing. I have to touch the screen quite a bit because that's all I have. Because I don't have a joystick. Trigger,
but I'd rather have a joystick on the back, like the R5 and stuff have.
R5, R7, R8.
The R3 has a thing on the back.
The R10 does not. I had one of those. I had a Canon.
The R10 does not.
It does not. I had a Canon R10.
I think the new R1 has one too, but...
Well, they have the R5 Mark II now.
Yeah, the R5 Mark II is pretty good.
They have...
Like, for photography-wise, I like the RP. It's nice entry level.
So talk about when you start getting into lenses. So the main thing about I would call them the framed cameras, or we have mirrorless cameras.
Yeah. You have DSLRs, and then you have what they call mirrorless. DSLRs, they have the shutter. When you hit the shutter speed, you hear the little click. That's basically, it moves the shutter in the inside. Mirrorless don't, because they don't have a mirror. They have to flash off they have to move to get the picture. It still has the same noise, but you can turn that noise off in mirrorless ones.
It's basically nostalgia.
Yeah. But for Canon, there's two different types of lenses. There's EF and RF. RF are for the new mirrorless ones, but you can still use the EF. Like I use this EF lens. That's a 75-300. So it's a long telescope lens, but I have an adapter for the full frame RP camera that I got. And I got my old trusty 50 millimeter. But all of these lenses I have aren't Pro Series. There are different series for Canon lenses. These are the cheaper side.
Which is your budget side, right?
Yeah, these are the small budget side, but there's one lens I still want to get, which is 85 millimeter, and that's still like $400. So they're not like...
They're not
cheap,
budget. They're super expensive, but they're not the Pro Series. So the Pro Series starts at like $2,200.
Yeah, they're the Pro Series, and you can tell with the Canon because they have a red ring on them. Is when you start getting into the higher end ones, and if you get into the real big ones, like the big telephoto ones, are the white.
Yeah, and those, I mean, those go anywhere from $3,800 to $20,000.
Yeah, there's some that are like
there's crazy
because they say with the camera, don't really worry about the body. Just worry about the body that can take the lens, because if you buy a really good lens, you can swap that sucker out. Like these, they all take off and you can put them back on. So you want to invest more money in the lens than you do in the body.
Yeah, typically that's how it goes. Typically,
because you can put filters on these too. Like this one is a 63 millimeter NV filter, variable NV filter on.
So what he means by variable is basically like putting on.
It's like I don't know if it'll pick it up, but like it'll have minimum, which is shade it. You can see it, and then it's like, oh look, I got sunglasses on, so it's kind of like it goes,
so it goes from, you can have it
for super bright days.
Yeah, it can go for nothing, so you can use it just, there's no filter, and it's all built in there because it's a variable ND filter, and then you can turn it on more for if it's an extremely sunny bright day, or let's say you're in your studio area and you're doing desktop type videoing, or how we're in Mike's living room, and we have too much light coming in, you can actually just use the ND filter instead of changing the ISO or any of those.
Yeah, it's mainly the ISO that will change.
You can actually just do it through the lens, and it puts less strain on your camera, basically.
Yeah, less post stuff. You won't get like super high highs, or you won't get a washout or anything like that. So it helps out in those super bright areas.
Yeah, and those are pretty cool to have. So for Canon, you have your budget lenses, and then you have your most crazy, extreme, expensive lenses. And the same thing with Sony. So my camera actually takes, these are called E-mount lenses. And for me, why I switched to Sony is because the E-mount lens, there's like 8 billion lenses that you can buy, anywhere from the cheapest of the cheap to the most expensive lenses for the E-mount Sony cameras. And some of their high-end cameras are using E-mount lenses. So I haven't landed on the lens that I want to say can do all, but during our downtime when elk hunting, I was showing Mike the lens that I want to get, and I think it's the do all type lens for me, for the style of what I have. So it is an 18 to 300 millimeter lens.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, it's expensive, but it's not crazy expensive. It's like $700, but it's basically one lens can almost, I would say almost do all, only because 300 millimeters is great when we're out doing some kind of close.
300.
So that's close to what it would do, but I think that's a 75 to 300. So this one I'll still be able to do floating head, but I'll also be able to zoom in fairly far. I would say it's almost do all, only because when we're out rifle hunting, that 300 millimeter is still not going to do what I would like it to frame in for a shot. So I'm actually looking for 2 lenses, so that 18 to 300. And then I'm going to try to purchase a 150 to 600 millimeter lens. And I think those 2 lenses will be the two lenses that I pretty much just use all the time.
Yeah. You also want to look for like the ones like this 50. These are called prime lenses, and they only do 1 millimeter. Like this will only be 50. They'll have a better f-stop. Like I think this is 1.8, and this one is like a 2.4. But this
what that means
is a zoom lens. Well, you got also zoom lenses, and this is a telephoto lens. The big ones are telephoto, the 300 ones, but this is just like a zoom lens. It only goes to 105.
Which the zoom lens is actually on the camera now. It's a 28-70. It is not a telephoto lens. This is more of like the telephoto lens. This is a 55-210. Yeah, 210. And so this is a hood. This is to help kind of shade some of the light that comes through. But I mean, it goes from 55 millimeters to 210 millimeters. So I mean, it has a little bit of that telephoto, but it's definitely a zoom does, I don't know, it's just built different.
Yeah. It doesn't have as hard f-stop like caps, I would say.
Yeah, so this one
can cap up to like whatever the camera does. I think mine goes up. Most of mine lenses do f/22, but it's more like the bottom number is the cap.
Also, what that means, so like the smaller the number means the more blur in the background. So if it's like a one, what is it? Bokeh.
Yeah.
So a 1.8 is really going to blur that background out. So it's really going to put focus on the object that you definitely want it to stand out. I like the bokeh.
Yeah, bokeh is more like the depth. And with like these lenses, it's also, I would say you get a little bit more detail with the lower f-stop.
I would say you get a lot more detail with the lower f-stop. I think
pro, but I just noticed that from shooting. I love my 50 millimeter.
Yeah. So, and those come in ranges too, man. You can spend a ton of money on those, or you can.
Yeah. This one was like $200. I think it got on sale, but the pro version of the 50 is also like double the length, and the glass,
the girth to it.
The glass is really bigger, and it's also like $1,200 or $2,500 for the 51.
But see, so this is a Sony one. This is a Canon one, right? There are third-party lenses out there that you can get that are even cheaper. Yeah. So I've been looking
Sony has more options with third-party ones. Canon, if you get a third-party, it's going to be all manual.
And that is the reason why I went to Sony. Another one of the reasons why I went to Sony. Number one, I hadn't a Canon R10, but finding lenses, there were hardly any options out there. I thought I had really good I know I had really good lenses with that Canon R10 that I had.
It was an RF, right? R10 for the lens.
Yeah, same lenses as yours. I had the 1-400. I had the kit lens, and then I had a 50 millimeter. Actually, I think I had this one. Yeah, the Canon 50 millimeter. I think I had this one. But when it came to the variety of lenses, there was really nothing out there. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to return this camera. And I'm going to try something new, because I had started with the Canon. I loved the Canon. The interface was super easy to use, but I wanted to try something new, and I landed on the camera that I have now. And, you know, I'm not a camera guy. I'm new to all this filming and photos and all this other stuff. I'm new. Like, I'm not a professional. I wish I was. I wish I knew more. But I know that there's tons of lenses out there, and there's actually lenses that are like $150. So when I see these lenses, I go into the depths of YouTube and I watch some of these other guys that are professionals, and they're saying, hey man, this is actually a super cheap camera that's going to give you professional quality.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you have to, like I say, the deep dive. You want to find the guys that are not sponsored by people that are actually going to give you a real review.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, some of them will be sent this lens for free, just for them to give it a review because they have, 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
They might be sponsored by a company that supplies all this stuff, but they're not sponsored by that lens particular, right?
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of those guys, and I've actually found a couple of lenses that I'm going to purchase. One's a 50 mil, $150.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
The Bokeh or whatever is a 1.8.
Yeah, that's like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna bring it up.
Like I say the two people that if you want to learn more about photography and videography and stuff, the two people I watch the most for photography is Pierre Lambert. He is a professional like travel photographer, and he does like a lot of stuff, and he does reviews on just like different lenses. He does a lot of random. He does a lot of different stuff, but he's a Sony guy. And for videography and video stuff, I would probably, most likely, because he does really good stuff, is Peter McKinnon.
Oh, he's one of the best.
If you watch Peter McKinnon, he actually goes into deep of like he does a lot of videography and photography, and he's more on the Canon side, even though he does other different types of photos. And like he just recently did a whole year of just film. He went back to doing film again. But he also does different things. Like he just did a shot that he put up was a video I thought was really cool. He does like these videos. He has two of them that are called the bucket shots. And he did the photo for Red Bull of the two airplanes flying past.
Yeah.
When the eclipse was going on, he's the one that took that, and he just went to that event. Red Bull invited him out, and he just went to it, even though Red Bull had a bunch of photographers, and he was the only one that caught a good one, just because he's like, I'll just snap a couple of pictures and see what happens, and he actually got it.
So yeah, I watch a lot of Peter McKinnon. He does a lot of different reviews on everything. He does do a lot of filming with Canon.
Yeah, I think he's a Canon ambassador. So he gets all the new stuff. Oh, and another one, if you want to do more on the photography side, is I'll have to look him up because I just forgot his name. But he is mainly a photographer that does like cars. He's a car photographer.
Seriously miscalculates what?
Oops. You seriously miscalculate stuff, apparently.
So, one of the guys that I like to...
Larry Chan.
Oh, Larry Chan's really good.
Yeah.
One of the guys that actually landed me on the ZVE-10 is Mark Bennett. And he does a lot of affordable cameras.
Yeah, he does.
But he does a lot of Sony stuff. He does Canon, but he does different things that are more affordable, and that's how I landed on the camera that I have now. And he does a lot of lenses with this camera, and one of them is the Veltrex. I don't know if that's how you actually say it, lens. And then there was one, it's like Miki or something like that. And that's like $150. And
yeah, there are some of those lenses for Canon, but they're like all manual. Yeah, the manual focus.
These are not.
So I don't mind full manual. It's just more.
I don't mind manual if I'm only taking stills.
Yeah, stills is man. That's what it is.
If I'm taking stills, let's say
a lot of people use there are some photographers that use manual focus on like at car events for racing.
I don't know how they do that.
They just know the lens,
the feel of the camera and everything. I'm not that to that point. I'm actually, to be honest, I didn't know that until we were trying to set up the camera. I was in manual focus the whole time we were out elk hunting, and I have some really good shots. So it can be done, and I did it with video too, and things are moving. I was in manual focus, and I was still able to get some really good shots. But there's everything out there for any budget. And I mean, you can go from your cell phone to the highest end thing. No matter what you do, it's basically how you put everything together, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is in post. A lot of it is in post. You can color grade. You can change some of the tints. You can do a whole bunch of things. For me, I try not to do any of that.
Just do it raw.
Try to just how it looks.
Use raw dog your videos.
There will be some things that I will fix only because sometimes it will be a little bit too bright. I will kind of like dim that down a little bit, kind of give it the more cinematic look. Yeah. That's the only thing that I kind of touch when I'm putting together some of the films. I'll actually probably even do it for this. I kind of just give it that little bit of depth to it, give it a little bit more of like a cinematic look.
Like, kind of like the contrast.
Right. That's the only thing that I touch. But I mean, you can go from your cell phone all the way up to your mirrorless full frame cameras. So there are two different types of mirrorless cameras. You have your full frame and what is it, CPS?
Crop. Yeah, it's crop frame.
Yeah, and it's basically they're just two separate sensors.
Mirrorless is big, your camera. Crop is smaller. That's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah, so you have your full frame, which is a larger mirrorless frame, and then your cropped is smaller framed. What you can do, though, you can make those cropped ones full frames, and it just depends on the lens that you use. Yeah.
A lot of photographers, they don't mind using crop one, or they prefer, like, the R50 is a cropped camera, and, like, they don't really care. Like, if you're a portrait photographer, it's like, see it.
It might, to be honest with you guys, my Canon M50 was freaking an awesome camera. The only thing that really sucked with it and where I wanted to bring my filming was into the 4K realm.
Yeah, like my camera does not have 4K. It's like 1080.
It does not really run very well in 4K, so I upgraded. This camera is filming in 4K right now. It looks great. It only does 4K and 30 frame, and that's really all I need. To be honest with you, anything that I would need to slow down or put into slow motion, my camera actually has a slow motion button, and then it kind of like does some crazy stuff. I don't know how it works, but it does look really good in slow motion. But like Mike just uses this camera here for stills. It can be used for filming.
I don't think I've used that camera once for filming.
I watched a film, a hunting video actually with this camera. I think it was in 4K. I don't remember. I think that does 4K 30 frames, but it looked fantastic. And a lot of people say you don't really need 4K. A lot of the newer cameras now also are like 6K dumbed down into like 4K, or it's like it's filmed in 6K but pulls in 4. I'm gonna be completely wrong on this, but if you know the knowledge, then you get it. But it's so the Sony that I'm using is actually 6K, but it like dumbs it down into 4K. I think that's why the picture looks so dang good, but.
Yeah, I am not sure what this is running at.
Here, man, you don't ever get into the video stuff. Let me.
No, I'm just gonna go into the full menu and see. Let's see. Video is. I have it set up to RAW. That's good. I never freaking Set it up. Oh, you can crop it too. It's at 1080.
That's the highest it goes.
Yeah. It's not the newest. The RP isn't the newest one. The newest camera out there.
You might be able to go and unlock some of the settings.
Yeah.
That one might be a YouTube lookup. But anyways, I've seen films done with the RP and they look freaking fantastic. And they were done here in 2024. So
I just never.
Well, now with some of the editing software, you can actually like boost it.
Yeah, upgrade it.
Yeah, so on my Canon, it would only film in 1080 because the 4K was crap. I would upgrade it to like 2.7 K, and it looked fantastic. If you guys watch the Snow Goose series, I think it's a 4 or 5 part series that was done on my Canon M50, and it looks freaking awesome.
Oh, you're filming that in 4K?
No,
was it?
That was 1080.
Oh, 1080, yeah.
And it looked freaking awesome.
1080 is nice.
Some of it was with the GoPro as well, and that was in 4K. But yeah, for some of the other stuff, it was filmed off of a camera in 1080. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that is our camera breakdown, and going from budget to I don't know. I guess our mirrorless cameras are fairly budget as well. I mean, they're not $3,000 cameras, so
not expensive.
But you can go up to that. I mean, if Mike and I had the money to spend on that, for sure we'd be doing it. But for me, I don't have the money to be doing that. So for me, for the gear that I have, I'm trying to put out the best that I can and put it all together for everybody to watch and enjoy. I enjoy doing it. I mean, we're doing this for free. So we have to have some type of joy in it, right? Like there has to be some type of joy in it. The goal is not to be doing it for free. So hopefully people like it and they're enjoying it and they're watching it, which will be more like subscriptions and more people viewing it so that we can monetize. But that is not like a priority. It's, it's not a priority. I'm still going to like doing this. I'm still going to bring you, the viewers and the people listening, content because I like doing it.
Yeah.
I have a good time, and yeah, man. I think that's pretty much what it's about.
Yeah.
I think the getting paid and the monetizations and this, that, and the other thing, that's just kind of like the icing on the top. It just kind of makes it, I'm not stressing out bringing you guys content.
Yeah, I don't think you should like start something and strive to like, I want to get paid to do this. It's like, if you love doing it or like doing it, then just do it. Eventually it'll come to you.
Yep. And then that's kind of where we're at. So, I mean, if you're just starting out, let's say you want to get into podcasting, there's plenty of things out there that you can podcast with. Hello. You can do it with your phone. Holy moly. All you do is hit the record button. That is it.
I do that with my friend.
Mike seriously does it through his cell phone and these Rode mics here. That's it. If you cannot afford the Rode mics, you can just hit record on your cell phone. That is it. And just talk into your phone. If you have the earbuds or even the wired ones that come with it, those actually work great. Before I got into podcasting, I was actually asked to be on a podcast and talk about an elk hunt. And that's all I had. And my audio actually sounded better than the guys running the podcast.
Yeah.
It was just through my iPhone, the wired headset.
Now they don't even freaking give you them anymore.
Freaking Apple. Cheapskates.
I have pros, I got earbuds. So I don't know.
So, I mean, you can start off with just your cell phone for absolutely everything, and upgrade from there. So you can start anywhere, really. And I encourage everybody to do it. You don't have to be in the realm of hunting and fishing or anything like that. You could be doing whatever you want. Mike and another one of our buddies, Ian Comer, he's actually been on the podcast, and our buddy Nick, they have a podcast. Mike, where can they listen? It's seriously random. Like it's just random stuff.
Random stuff we talk about. It's more like
video games, movies. What I don't even know.
I think we just did like a Halloween thing, but you can get us on Spotify at the Caveman Theory.
Caveman Theory.
Yep.
On Spotify.
It's only as we just upload stuff and we talk about random things.
So anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter. So, but if you are in the hunting and fishing realm, you want to video cat videos, cell phone.
Yeah.
And you can download free editing software and do it on a budget. But hey, you guys, that is it. We're going to end the night with that. Hopefully you guys really liked what we put together. This is the equipment that we use. And hopefully you like what we're putting out. And if you do, please like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, comment, follow us on whatever platform you are listening to the podcast. We really do appreciate it. Leave a comment. We like to hear from the people listening and watching our videos. So, even if you're listening to this on whatever podcast platform, leave a comment, give us the 5 stars. We need stuff like that. It keeps us going. It keeps us bringing you content. Also, if there's anything that you guys want to hear, if you want to hear about more turkey hunting, we're going to be doing more waterfowl, deer hunting, elk hunting, predator hunting, whatever it is. I wouldn't say I'm the best bear and or cougar hunter, but I will be smacking down some coyotes. So if you want to hear about some predator hunting, let us know. Let's get some content out there that you want to listen to and watch. So everybody, thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night.